It's my feel-good breakfast show.
This is your feel-good breakfast show, Espresso on SABC3. Now let's talk health, especially with regards to children who are susceptible to a range of illnesses due to being exposed to all types of germs at school and at kindergarten and not having a fully developed immune system. And now it's important that parents understand what these common childhood illnesses are and the signs and symptoms that we should look out for. This morning we're chatting to pediatrician Dr. Hanneke Haynes on common childhood illnesses. Dr. Haynes, thanks so much for making the time available to chat to us this morning.
Good morning, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to share my passion about children and children's health with you.
Thank you so much. I think this is probably a topic that hits home for all parents, and it gives me the biggest anxiety for sending Luca even to kindergarten. Maybe Dr. Haynes, you can help us with this. As a pediatrician, what are the most common illnesses that you come across in children?
By far, the most common illness in children are different types of infections. And we're very much looking at things like upper respiratory tract infections that have got sore throats and sore ears, the common cold or flu-like symptoms, then chest infections that has got bronchopneumonia or bronchiolitis or bronchitis, and then gastro with vomiting and diarrhea are by far the most common kind of illnesses that we see in children, and especially in the young child that is just starting up school.
Yeah. And why are children prone to these types of illnesses specifically? Is it just because of an underdeveloped immune system?
Right, so I've got a good story I always teach parents. I say that when a baby is born, he has got an empty immune library. So he's got a couple of immune things that he's inherited from his moms, but they are like unlinked. So these antibodies crosses over the placenta, and if mommy is breastfeeding, it comes over the breast milk. And it basically just is a couple of immune antibodies that's unlinked. And after 6 to 9 months, unfortunately, they are returned and they disappear, and baby needs to build up his own library. So that initially the library is completely empty. And every time that the child gets sick, what happens is that it basically builds up an immunity against that illness. He makes antibodies, and then he files those antibodies away in the library. So the next time that he sees that virus, he goes to the immune library and takes out those antibodies and kills the virus or bacteria straight away and prevents the illness from actually becoming quite worse. So as you can imagine, starting up with an empty library, it takes a while for that library to be filled with all those antibodies. And that is why they get so sick. Also, if they're in an environment where they're exposed to a lot of viruses and bacteria, like a creche environment, and lots of other children, they are going to be prone to pick up a lot more other illnesses and infections. And sometimes some children have a stronger immune system because of genetics, and sometimes some children have got a weaker immune system. And then we can do some investigations into that if you're really worried.
I've got to say, that is a wonderful story, the library story. If you tell it to all of us right now, it makes me feel a lot less anxious, basically. I can smile through that story and listen to it and understand how a young child's immune library is built up. Thank you for that.
Coming back to a question I maybe have as well is, what are some of the signs and symptoms we should look out for with these types of illnesses?
The most common would be having a fever. Now, a fever or a temperature is basically a raised temperature, and above 37.5 on a thermometer kind of says is a temperature. 37.5 to 38.5 is a mild temperature or mild fever, and above 38.5 is a high fever. And then some of the other symptoms we all know, is kind of the child that's just cranky, miserable, a little bit more clingy. He doesn't want to eat so well. He doesn't want to play as usual. He might have a runny nose, a blocked nose. He might have a cough. There might be vomiting. There might be some diarrhea, or he can complain about pain. So he might say his throat is sore, or he might say his ear is sore, or he might say that his head is sore. And that's different things that children most commonly present with if they've got an illness.
Yeah, and I think one of the worst things for a parent is not being able to help your child in that immediate moment to relieve them of these symptoms. So as a parent, what then can you do to protect your children from these common illnesses? And I guess in part as well, I want to ask, do you necessarily want to protect them from getting it? Because we're talking about building that immune library.
Right, yes. So we definitely want to build up an immune library, but we also don't want to be having this poor library completely overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And having too many illnesses onslaught onto this library. It's like books lying all over and not being filed properly. So we do want to protect them. And the best way of protection is a healthy lifestyle. So extremely important for children is to have those 5 veggies and fruits per day. And I often find that, when I ask parents about if the children are eating well, they say yes. And if I ask them about fruits and veg, yes, they have got once a week something. And that's not enough. So we need to try to aim for 5 fruits and veg per day per child. Make sure that you reduce things like sugars and preservatives. So make sure the child drinks lots and lots of water. And I always teach the children, and I say, you know what? If I bath you tonight in a lot of juice, you're going to be all over sticky. So why do you want to bath your insides with juice as well? So make sure that you bath your insides well with lots of water. Then children need to play a lot. They need to have lots of exercise and preferably a lot of fresh air outside. And then the other thing is very important is sleep. It's important that children have a good 10 to 11 hours of sleep properly per night. So put those kids in bed early enough so that they can get enough sleep. There are supplements and things available. There's quite a lot of vitamins, supplements, immune boosters, probiotics, all kind of little things that can help to boost children's immune systems.
Dr. Haynes, I wish you were my pediatrician when I was a child. I really would have enjoyed doctor's visits. It's been wonderful chatting to you.
It was a pleasure meeting you and was lovely to join my passion with you guys.
Thank you so much.
Jamie Lee, how's your immune library looking? Is it in order?
I feel like I need to go back to the basics right now after this conversation, right?
Well, BRUFEN can assist with a range of pain symptoms and helps to reduce fever and treat inflammation. Experiencing pain? BRUFEN works where it hurts. BRUFEN 200 and 400 milligram is not suitable for children under the age of 12 years.